Hey guys, welcome back to the Suburban Hippie Experimentalist. So today I'm going to do a brake job on my wife's 2013 Subaru XV Crosstrek. It's got about 50,000 miles on it. I was thinking about replacing the rotors at the time, but I don't feel any pulsation in the steering wheel, so I think it should actually be fine. Now, one problem I do have with the car is when you turn left or right out of the driveway on a sharp turn, there's a clicking noise. So after talking to the guys at the parts store, I think it might be a bad axle. Now at first I thought it may be a CV joint, but it sounds like the axle is the more likely culprit. So I'm going to call and see if that's covered under warranty. If not, I'm just going to change it myself. It's a $70 part, and I'd rather just do it myself rather than pay $300, $400, or $500 to have somebody else do it. Okay, so the first step is to loosen the lug nuts before I jack up the car. Now I'm using this old torque wrench as a breaker bar. I have a new torque wrench right here. This is an old one and I'm using it as a breaker bar. I'm going to loosen all 5 of those lugs, and then I'm going to get the actual car jack for the car out, and I'm going to jack up the car, and then I'm going to take the wheel off. Okay, so here I have the car jack out, and see there's a little lip in the jack. And this is the same as when you change the tire. You want to make sure that that little groove goes in right there. That's the place you jack the car up. If you do it anywhere else, you're actually going to bend the unibody of the car. Okay, so now I've got the tire off the ground, and I'm going to take these lug nuts out. I'm going to take the wheel off. Okay, the next step is, since I've got the wheel off, I need to support the car with this jack stand. You never want to rely on just the jack. It's a recipe for disaster and a recipe for you getting hurt. So let me see if I can find a place to put that. Okay, so I put the jack stand there on the lower control arm all the way up in there, and then I've still got some tension on the jack here, so it's supported in 2 places. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take these 2 bolts out here, and I'm going to take the brake caliper off. Okay, so this is a 13 millimeter socket, and I use the 1/2 inch drive ratchet. Sorry, I was thinking about something else. So they're both loose, and I'm going to take this caliper off. Hopefully you can see that. Okay, so these brakes actually have a double piston. I've actually never seen that in my entire life. I guess I haven't worked on that many cars. So here's the brake pads on there. There's the rotor here in the middle, brake pad on each side. They're not that bad. I'm going to replace them, but they're not that bad. But in order to get the new pads on, I'm going to have to drive these pistons back. Okay, so the way I'm about to do this is the way most people do it. Now, they put a C-clamp on here and they do this slowly. They're going to drive these pistons back in there. Just because it's kind of a pain in the ass. Now, because this is a double piston, I need to put the C-clamp on this way because this thing's in the way. Normally I do it the other way. It doesn't really matter. So I've got one part of the C-clamp back here on this bolt. It's pushing against this, it's fine. And I'm going to slowly pull this. I'm going to turn this and I'm going to pull this, and it's going to pull these 2 pistons back in there, and I want to make sure I do it evenly. Okay, so I've compressed that piston back far enough. I wanted to check it. So what I did is I compressed it back, and then I put these new pads in, and you can see this fits on here. Okay, so the new pads are on there. That's where they're going to be. There's the spring clips on the bottom, and these 2 make contact here. This metal tab and this. I assume that's an anti-vibration dampening pad or tong. See, it's on the same on both sides. So now I'm ready to fit the caliper back on. Okay, so that's this side. This is all complete. The bolts are tight. 14 millimeter bolts. If you don't know how much torque to put on there, look it up. Look it up for this car if you want, or look it up for the size of bolt, whatever. But look it up. I'm not going to spoon feed you that information, but anyway, you tighten that on, and then I'm going to get back inside and I'm going to slowly pump the fluid back into this caliper and make sure I have a nice tight pedal. But that completes this side, and then I'm going to just replace or repeat the same process for the other side. So there you have it. Okay, so I'm going to push fluid back into that caliper, and I'm going to do this slowly all the way down to the floor. At first the pedal's going to be soft, and you're going to slowly bring it back up. Back down again, and the pedal's already getting tight. Okay, so the pedal's firm. Not quite as firm as I'd like it. That doesn't have anything to do with the job I just did though. Okay, so now I'm going to repeat the process on the other side, the entire process, and then I'm going to take it for a ride.